Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A lot of people love growing coriander because it's such a versatile herb and it can be used in so many different ways. In this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to grow coriander, what we call coriander, what the Americans call cilantro, how to grow it, get it to germinate, how to grow it from seed, how to grow coriander all the way up to harvest. And I'm going to show you different ways of growing it so that you can get a continuous crop and not have to worry about it bolting. So you might have noticed what I've got in my hand, and I've given you advice about this a few times when I've talked about growing coriander. Soak your seeds overnight, tie it in a cloth, and within a few days you're going to get it to germinate. And this is exactly what I've done here. So this is a trick. A lot of the Bangladeshi old women use this trick and they've been using it for a long time. So I'll show you what it looks like. So there we go. After a few days, you're going to have your coriander sprout like this. All you have to do is take your coriander seeds, soak them overnight, and tie them in a damp cloth like this, and keep them in the damp cloth. Keep the cloth soaked, don't let it dry out, and you're going to end up with sprouted coriander just like this. And there's a couple of ways you can grow this. Now you've got the seeds to germinate, you've done the hard part. See, a few people have asked me about growing in balconies and growing in low space areas. So this is a perfect one for growing in a low space area. All I'm going to need is this mushroom tray. This is a used mushroom tray. You don't have to buy new plastic. You can use these old sorts of things and recycle them. So I'm going to just use this to grow my coriander in. So I've made some holes in the bottom, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my seed compost and fill my mushroom tray. And that's it. Once I've got it filled, just level it flat. And this is what I'm going to sow my coriander on top of. So if I take my seeds and I just broadcast them, and I just spread them quite liberally across the top of this. And because they're a shallow rooted plant, they can grow in these little, in these small containers really easily, and you don't have to worry about trying to get the root under the ground because of the way we're going to plant them. And you don't have to worry about them being so close together. And if they're tangled up, don't try and force them apart. I mean, ideally, I should have done this video yesterday when the roots were that much shorter. These are a little bit long for my liking. Because they do tangle up so easily. So get them in all the corners, get them up everywhere. Like I say, grow them quite liberally, it's fine. Be quite generous with them, don't worry about them. Don't worry about how generous you are with it. Okay, so there's my seeds down, and then cover all of that in compost. So it's just compost mixed with sharp sand that I'm covering it with. It's nothing special. And there we go. If your compost isn't already damp, then water that in. But if your compost is quite damp, you can leave that. So I'll just water that in gently. Okay. And that way the soil will get good root contact around the seeds. Now within a week or so, I should be able to see my coriander sprouts coming up through there, and they should be about an inch tall within a week. Within a couple of weeks time, I should have coriander about this height. This is cut and come again. So what we've done is we've already had one harvest from here. We took a first harvest, they got to about 6 inches tall. We took a harvest, and now they're growing for the second harvest. Now if you cut them back, they will sprout again and they will grow again, and you will be able to get another harvest. But the second time that you cut them, they do bolt quite fast. So once you've harvested them first time, the second time that you cut them, they're the ones that will tend to bolt. But if they do bolt, it's not an issue, because look, the seeds that I've just planted are seeds that I saved last year for myself. So when they do bolt, just let them grow up, let them dry, And you can either grind them down and you've got coriander powder, or you let them, or you save them as seeds and then you plant them again next year. But this is a second crop from this one little flat. You can grow coriander like this in a pot, and they're beautiful to grow in a pot like this. I've had this growing in my greenhouse, and this is one that we planted in February. And again, from this side where it's a little bit shorter, we've had one harvest and we've let it grow up again. And from that side we're picking as we're going along, so we'll pick some from there. So we'll use that for our iftar tonight and we'll enjoy that. But the thing about fresh coriander is the smell. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. The fragrance is just amazing. It'll just blow you away. But I'm not going to just leave it here. I'm going to go and get some more coriander planted in some other places. Come with me. So that's the thing about when you're growing coriander, is grow it in a way that you're going to get successional sowings. So if it is bolting, you've got some that's bolting and you've got some that's freshly growing. So don't sow all your seeds in one go. I'm going to just sow a little bit of coriander just down here, and then it's going to help protect my lettuces that are down here. I've got garlic and onions on this side, and I'm going to have coriander in the middle. So all I'm going to do is just disturb the surface of the soil like that. I'm not going to go too far into it, so just gently, the first probably 1 inch. So just push the mulch back, disturb the soil. And I'm going to get some seeds into there, and I'm just going to broadcast them quite generously. And because they've germinated, because you're seeing the ones that have germinated and you're planting the ones that are germinated, you're not worried about which ones are going to sprout and which ones aren't. So you know exactly whatever seed you're planting, that's the plant that you're going to get. So now just get them into the ground. I mean, if I wanted to, I could get a little bit of compost and just cover this with compost. But there we go, that's it. And I'm just going to get that mulch back over the top. And that's me done. And because that's already sprouted, it's going to come up really fast. Within about a week's time, I'll see young coriander plants coming up out of the ground there, and I'll just be able to harvest continuously. And I like growing it in little patches like this, and I like staggering my harvests. As soon as I've emptied this cloth out, I'm just going to go and soak another set of seeds. So this is my busy greenhouse, and this tray in front of me is a supermarket storage tray, and all that I grow in here, I grow taro in here, or elephant ears, or mucky as we like to call it. And this is where I'm going to grow some more coriander as well. Because taro is going to take a bit of time to germinate and get up, it's going to take a bit of time to sprout and grow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to oversow it with some coriander seeds. So cilantro, there we go. And I'm going to sow it quite lightly. I'm just going to cover it up with some compost. And I'll have a harvest of coriander or cilantro long before my taro even pops its head out of the ground. But with these ones, what I won't do is I won't just cut and come again. I might pull the whole root so the taro so it doesn't compete with the taro, or it doesn't cause any issues for the taro as the taro grows. But this is a way of interplanting, and you can double your harvest from the same space. See, that's one of the other things that I like about this coriander and growing it like this, is that I can use it in these little ways, and I can use the fragrance of it to deter pests. I can use it interplanting amongst these. I've got it next to my lettuces. I've got garlic on one side, I've got onions, I've got my lettuces in the middle, I've got my broad beans. I'm going to plant a line of these around my broad beans, where I've got onions and stuff planted around them as well. So these are little tricks that you can use to deter pests, confuse pests, grow your plants pest-free. And this is a way that you can grow your coriander and stagger your harvest throughout the growing season, and you don't have to worry about plants bolting. As soon as I finish planting these, I'm going to take some more coriander, I'm going to soak it, and then I'm going to tie it in my cloth and do the wet cloth trick. So you can leave your wet cloth on top of a boiler, on top of somewhere warm. At this time of year, even on a warm windowsill will be perfectly fine. It'll germinate really quickly. You don't have to worry about that. And so that's one of the ways that you can keep growing coriander throughout the growing season, and you can grow your coriander for a way that you stagger your harvest and you're not having to worry about what's going to be bolting and what's not. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like for me. Don't forget to subscribe for regular updates and share this video out. I'll leave it there for this one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.